rough and ready streets of South Africa's biggest city, Johannesburg. For me to get a real feel of this city, I think I'm going to need a new perspective, one that takes me straight up. These are the famous Orlando Towers. Between 1956 and 98, this was one of South Africa's most advanced power stations. In 2006, it reopened as one of the city's most popular tourist draws. But this view isn't what I'm here to see. I've come all this way to South Africa to find the king of the savannah, the extremely beautiful white lion. Check this out. This is an animal that is extremely rare. And they usually have kind of pale blue eyes and remarkable white fur. It's the result of a mysterious genetic quirk that I'm determined to get to the bottom of. I'm hoping to get as up close and personal with this animal as I can. But first and foremost, I'm gonna check out one of the most famous townships in all of Johannesburg, and that is over there in the distance, the iconic Soweto. During apartheid, black South Africans weren't allowed to live in the city, so they had to live here. That made Soweto a place that ultimately defined the struggle of apartheid. Today, Soweto is a vibrant part of Johannesburg and a great place to get acquainted with the people of South Africa. How much for this? 80. It's about $8. Hey, man, do you have change? Okay, cool. Is that good? It's good. What do you reckon, Frank?
Look like an idiot.
Tourist. I'm starving, and this is the perfect place to refuel before I hit the road. This is a traditional South African meal made from maize and various veggies, spinach and the like. It's supposed to be eaten with your hands, so I'm just gonna dive in. Start with the cabbage. It's cabbagey, a little bit like school dinners, so let's do the middle stuff, which is spinach. It's got a little bit more flavor to it. A little bit of heat, actually. And now, this is the stuff that I think is gonna be the best. Chilies, and onions, and tomatoes. That is good. One last bite. Thank you. So tasty. On the way back to the car, I decided to take the scenic route through this local park. Oh, nice. Check this out, Frank. Look at this. Come on. This is the Parktown prawn. This is, in fact, a very large cricket. It's called a king cricket. I can tell it's a female from this little thing sticking out of her abdomen right here, which for a long time was thought to be a sting on these type of animals. That's actually an ovipositor, and they use that to push down a little hole into the soft earth and then lay their eggs. You can see right now she's cleaning her antenna, and she's doing that because she's walking around on a filthy human. It's interesting, if you pick up insects and let them walk around in your hands, more often than not, they'll clean themselves very quickly because they find us quite dirty. Parktown prawn didn't really become famous until the 1960s. That actually sparked a huge rumor in South Africa that these guys were a genetic experiment that had gone wrong. That orange look made people think that they were radioactive and that suddenly they'd appeared out of nowhere. What had happened was, when they found themselves in the city of Johannesburg, surrounded by warmth, shelter, and food, their populations absolutely exploded. These insects can reach the size of a large mouse. This type of little cricket right here will scare people in the same way as seeing something like a black mamba would. The harmless and really quite cute Parktown prawn. I'm gonna put her back. Let's get moving. The only place in the world to find wild white lions is the Timbavati region in eastern South Africa. To get there, I'll pass through some of the most breathtaking and unique wilderness on the planet. Like the lush and vast Mariekskop Mountain. wouldn't necessarily associate South Africa with this type of view. But South Africa does have a whole variety of topography. And in this area alone, there are over 2,000 different types of plants and trees. The Lowveld Valley below is home to a spectacular cross-section of African creatures, from prey animals like wildebeest and impala to giraffes and zebra, big cats like leopards and cheetahs, right up to the big boss himself, the common lion. Over there, past those peaks, far in the distance, is Timbavati, and that is where, supposedly, the white lions still live. That's where I'm eventually going to be headed. Before I do that, I'm stopping at a nearby wildlife reserve for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Peter Rogers is a veterinarian for the Cheetah Wildlife Preserve. He's offered to let me ride along on a house call. A common tawny lion is wounded and needs Peter's help. It's a great opportunity to learn more about lions, and the only opportunity I may ever have to get really close up and personal with the king of the beasts. Working on lions is commonplace for you.
Yeah, it is, you know, but you've got to always be aware of the potential pitfalls. When you're working with wildlife, you've got to try and preempt any problems.
When your patient is a 350-pound apex predator, there's no room for error.
There he is there.
Male, the one we're going to dart, is just here on the left. To safely operate on the king of the beasts, this lion needs to be tranquilized.
Dom, if you can just move up a little bit, I'm going to just make up a dot here. Okay, this is the stuff we're going to be using.
Because the lion is injured, he already feels vulnerable and threatened. He's much more likely to defend himself. The dosage must be perfect the first time. Too much could kill the lion, too little, and the lion could kill us. Now I heard they call you one-shot Peter, is that right?
Yeah, now even more pressure.
So we're now going to reposition ourselves so that Peter can get a good shot on him. You can see here the positioning is very crucial because they get one shot. Have a watch. Frank, you're going to get it now. Yeah. That was absolutely perfect. What you're going for, Peter didn't say it, but it's true. You're going for that flank, the back of that meaty leg. It takes just a few minutes for the anesthetic to kick in. You can definitely see he's feeling a little different now.
Yeah, it's different more. Yeah, he's doing a little bit of stargazing.
Yeah, trying to keep his head up.
Yeah.
Once this mighty lion is purring like a kitten, it's time to operate. Fast.
No pressure.
No pressure. No pressure around a huge male lion.
Okay, he's fine.
But just as we think everything is settled and safe, his head's moving, his head's moving. Close call, but with only 30 minutes before the lion wakes up, Peter has to diagnose the problem, then operate. Fast. All right, let's do it. The clock is ticking.
Any last wishes?
I'm good.
Yeah, there's actually quite a big gaping wound here. You can see it obviously from a tooth or a claw that's actually gone into his foot.
So is that two males fighting?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
You can actually I can stick my finger some distance into the wound. In fact, it goes quite a way in there.
You can see Peter just washing out this wound here with a little bit of peroxide, but there is quite a lot of gunk coming out of it, so it's quite deep.
Yeah, you can see what's coming out now is pretty clear, eh?
Yeah.
And then we'll just rinse it out now with some chlorhexidine.
With just a few minutes before the drugs wear off, Peter quickly shows me why the lion is such an efficient and lethal predator.
So his teeth, there's a fair amount of wear. They're not exactly as sharp as they would have been. We're a lot younger. Look at these teeth. There's a lot of wear on these incisors here as well. Okay, but generally speaking, his teeth are in good nick, eh? Dom, I see you shaking, eh?
I'm just excited. Based on his general wear and tear, Peter thinks the lion is about 15 years old.
You can't see, and what's very well hidden is this dew claw. This is what that's how he pulls down his prey, eh?
Yeah.
Puts it onto, just like a thumb that he just pulls it in and pulls it down like that.
Yeah. Despite a deadly arsenal like this, because of his age, the lion's days are numbered. At some point, another stronger, younger male lion is going to come in and try and take his territory, take his females, and kill the cubs that he might potentially have. sometimes even kill this big male like this, so he has to be careful, he has to be on his guard at all times, defending that territory. A defender that's about to wake up, and his instinct will be to go into attack mode. You can see its breathing's changing a little bit now, so it is becoming a little bit more conscious, and that is definitely the most dangerous time to be close to this creature. I'm gonna get in the car. A genuinely scary moment. There he goes. A little shaky at first, but the lion joins his lioness companion. With the effects of the tranquilizer clearly still visible, he's vulnerable to predators like hyenas, leopards, and even other lions. So we stand guard until the pair are safe and re-establish their dominance. Wow. Day 2 in South Africa, and I'm back on the road, heading towards Timbavati. I've traveled about 200 miles, and I'm starting to get a little road weary. It's definitely heating up now. The temperature's in the middle of the day. It's a bit rough being in this car, so... Oh. Frank, get out. Lizard. Just crossing the street here. Where'd it go? It's here. Hang on. Okay, back up a little bit, Frank. Back up. This guy's hissing. You can hear that. Oh, it's okay. It's all right, big guy. Hey, we're going to put you down on the floor. Maybe this guy will just chill. I'm going to hold on to his neck to make sure he doesn't scarper, because these things can book when they feel like it. This is a monitor lizard. He does have a little bit of an injury. If I just bring him up slightly, you can see a slightly misaligned jaw on this guy. You see that, Frank? At some point, this lizard's probably received a kick or maybe a bite. That won't bother it at all. These type of lizards are very, very robust creatures, and they can get by having lost a limb or certainly a part of their tail. These guys will handle anything that they think they can overpower. They'll definitely go for venomous snakes. These lizards have very, very long snake-like tongues. In fact, monitor lizards are more closely related to snakes than any other lizard. It's a very sophisticated lizard, very smart lizard. You can see that this guy is actually starting to play dead. This is something that happens in nature a lot and happens with reptiles a lot. So when an animal can't escape, what they'll then do, as you can see here, is play dead. So this lizard is going quite limp and kind of getting itself into an unnatural position. If I let him go, let's see if he'll just continue to play dead. Dead lizard. If you stay here long enough, this lizard's going to explode with a little bit of pace. You can see already it's looking for an exit. Nice. Rock monitor, and I barely even needed to leave the road. Let's get moving. That was just the shot of adrenaline I needed. And after a quick rest, a wake-up call of another kind turns my travel plans upside down. Donald. Okay, just text me the directions, and we'll be there in, like, what? 20 minutes, half an hour. That was my friend and snake expert, Donald Stridham. He's been called to a home to remove a large snake that slithered in from a nearby bush. Donald knows there's one venomous snake I'm dying to get my hands on, the black mamba. If he thinks it's a mamba, pretty good chance it's a mamba. Ooh, black mamba. Because we don't know for sure what kind of snake it is, every safety precaution has to be taken.
So just do a double check in case doors hadn't been closed properly or that it got under a door, but...
Yeah. That's the thing about spitting cobra, potentially. As soon as you open the door, you get a blast of venom, so it's a good idea to wear these type of goggles. You might look stupid, but you save your eyesight.
I can see it. Yeah, behind the door here. It's not a spitter.
No?
No.
Sure? Okay,
I'm
good.
sure it's not a spitter.
I'll take those for you.
Yeah, you won't believe it.
What is it?
It's a mamba.
Oh.
It's a black mamba.
I've waited my entire life to see a black mamba in the wild like this. Easily the fastest and most lethal snake in all of Africa.
Wow.
Look at that beautiful snake. When I was a kid, I read a book by my favorite childhood author, Roald Dahl, a biography about his time in Africa. The book is called Going Solo and is filled with larger-than-life stories about African wildlife, including mambas. And some of these crazy stories about mambas, that it will outrun a horse, that it will outrun a car. These stories fed my fascination with snakes. But the truth about the mamba is so much more interesting than the fiction. If you look at the color of this snake's skin, it's not in any way black. That gape that you see right there is a little defensive posture. This is how the black mamba got its name, because of its ink-black mouth. People here call it the smile of death. It's a powerful warning. Back off, or else. The bite will do some pretty horrific things to you in terms of ultimately paralyzing you. You'll eventually suffocate, but you'll be conscious of it the entire time. But before the anti-venom was around, the records of people surviving a black mamba bite were nil. Extremely athletic, very, very potent venom, a very intelligent snake, and also the largest venomous snake on the continent of Africa. Nice. Look at that. That's beautiful black mamba behavior right there. This is a very, very confident snake telling me that I'm a little bit too close for comfort. I've spent about as much time as I think I should with one of the most venomous and certainly dangerous snakes on the planet. Donald will safely release the snake in the wild, and I need to get a bit of shut-eye before I hit the road again. Pretty fun, right, Frank? Before heading to Timbavati to search for white lions, I'm checking out a local game reserve. Donald told me cheetah sightings are common in here. Too good an opportunity to pass up. I'm setting out on foot, hoping to spot small animals along the way. But my first sighting is big. Very big. My God, look. White rhinos are the third largest land animal on Earth and one of the most dangerous animals in South Africa. This one has a very good reason to protect its turf. Look at that baby, look. It's just standing up now. It's onto us a little bit. Amazing, a mother and a baby. That baby looks about 3, maybe 4 months old. And at that age, she weighs about 250 pounds, I would say. But that's nowhere near as much as the mum weighs. It probably tips the scales at about 2 tons, about the same weight as the vehicle I've been driving. When a rhino is fully grown like that, there's not that many animals around here that will tackle it. Like any parent, rhinos are fiercely protective of their young, so I keep a safe distance. Any sudden move could spell trouble. But with the mum around, she will defend that little baby with her life. Protective mothers can be quite a scary thing. You can imagine a 2-ton rhino like this, thinking that her baby is in danger. Anything that gets in the way is going to get trampled. This is about as close as I'm going to risk getting to this white rhino and her baby. White rhino, beautiful animal, and so rare as well. After finding something so massive, something much smaller catches my eye. All of these little things here that look a little bit like shells, they're actually ticks and mites, parasites. And this is what's known as a rubbing post. You can imagine these large mammals, like elephants, rhinos, and buffalo, have extremely tough hides indeed. So these ticks and mice only really have a couple of places on their body that they'll be able to choose. Sometimes in between the hoofed area of Cape buffalo, more often than not, on the underside of their body, usually around their genitalia, and also around their backside. It's a good idea for those animals to come here to the rubbing post and try and get those ticks off as much as possible, but I'm sure what must happen every so often is a Cape buffalo comes in, rubs those ticks off, and then 5 minutes later, another Cape buffalo comes in, tries to rub off the ticks that it's got, and actually grabs hold of those ticks that have just been put on and walks away with them. Parasites are kind of a bummer. My next encounter is with Africa's most dangerous creature. Surprisingly, the cool, calm hippopotamus.
There are conflicting reports about how many people every year the hippo kills.
But the best data available suggests about 3,500 people.
If you were to push yourself into its territory, a sudden burst of speed, then it would use those jaws to snap at you. And they need to eat a huge amount of vegetation to keep that huge girth.
About 150 pounds a day.
They'll eat a lot of aquatic plants and any of this vegetation that might be succulent a little lower to the banks. In the water, they prefer to do doggy paddle. And they can run very fast indeed in short bursts. Hippos are actually capable of getting sunburn, so they'll try and get as much water and mud on them as possible. When they get to this size, there aren't that many animals that will have a go at them. A large pride of lions might try and take down a fully grown hippo like this, but they need to work in conjunction with each other a lot. Biting through that thick hide is going to be very difficult, so what they'll usually do is try and get it out of the water and then run it to absolute exhaustion so that it falls over and the slightly more easier to bite through fleshy belly section gets exposed. Look at all these lizards on this rock, Frank. See them? So if I stay low, those lizards on that top there won't see me.
This is a plated lizard. This is, in fact, the giant plated lizard, the biggest plated lizard here, one of the biggest lizards in Africa outside of the monitor lizards. If you go this way, along the top of the giant plated lizard's body, it's quite smooth. But this way is really quite rough, and they use that to their advantage. If a predator comes along, they'll jam themselves in a rock, and if you try and pull this lizard out of a rock when it's got a good purchase on it, you'll have almost no chance. And interestingly enough, this could kind of be a nice little plaything for a baby lion. So a mother lion might grab hold of this lizard, not kill it, and then offer it to her cubs to kind of bat around and learn how to bring down prey. Put this guy back now, let him enjoy the rest of this roasting hot day.
Giant plated lizard. Cool, right?
Here you go, buddy. It's getting late, and I should probably call it a day, but I still haven't seen a cheetah. If I find an impala, the cheetah's favorite prey, I may have better luck.
You can see a heck of a lot of animal prints here. And if I stay on this route one way or the other, there's a pretty good chance it's going to lead me to a watering hole, a place where animals come to drink, and usually a place of a lot of activity.
Here we go. 2 cheetahs relaxing in the heat.
And it's actually listening out for a zebra. I can hear zebras off in the distance. That's the noise of a zebra.
Unlike lions, cheetahs don't hunt in packs, but male siblings often stay together. These 2 are probably brothers.
They look very relaxed, that body language. The closer one, just grooming. That's a pretty good sign of being relaxed.
They'll hunt when it gets cooler. So for now, I keep my distance, but they could definitely outrun me if they wanted to.
Cheetahs are known for being the fastest land animal in the world, and they certainly are. But it's over pretty short distances. They're a very successful cat because of their speed and because of their maneuverability. That extra long tail that they have behaves like a rudder when they move at high speed. So when they're going right, the tail will flail out to the left. You can see him scent marking this tree. Let's go over and have a look. All big cats do this. That's going to be a chemical message from those cheetahs to tell any other big cat around, certainly lions, leopards, and cheetahs, a whole bunch of information, whether they're sexually active or not, whether they're receptive to find a mate.
As the light fades, these cheetah brothers stiffen. It looks like they're onto something.
You can see that change in body language as the cheetah starts to hunch their shoulders a little bit. And look, they're moving. Go, Frank. Gone, like that.
Cheetahs can accelerate to 60 miles an hour in just 3 seconds. Even a Ferrari Enzo can't manage that. But whatever they're chasing escapes. The cheetahs go hungry, for now.
It's getting a bit dark now, so I think what I'm gonna do is call it a night, get up super early in the morning, see if I can find these guys again, because if they've not hunted and found something today, it's a pretty good chance they'll find something early in the morning.
The next morning, I decided to rustle up some local expertise. Yesterday was fantastic walking around on foot, but what I realized is once they start really motoring, there's no chance for me to keep up with them, and if they manage to give chase to something, we'll be as close as we can to that particular moment if they bring it down. Fingers crossed. I've enlisted the help of Chris Sussens, a local wildlife officer. He knows exactly which 2 cheetahs I was following yesterday. His knowledge pays off. They're still bristling, ready to hunt. This whole thing is a game of chance. We've been out here quite a while now with the Cheetah brothers. So, I'm not sure if we're gonna see something. Maybe we'll get lucky, maybe we won't. The impala herd is up ahead. The prey is in the cheetah's sights. One animal has been separated. There's no hesitation. We've lost him. And we're not the only ones. That cheetah is actually calling his brother to say, "Where are you?" They don't roar like lions do. Because the cheetah's voice box isn't built for that. Their sound actually sounds a little bit more like a bird. As a consequence, lions and leopards don't know a cheetah is close by.
When you get a brother combination living together or staying together, they hunt together, they catch together, but if one catches a meal, of course, he wants to eat as quick as possible, so he doesn't answer the calls. Once he's got a full belly, he'll answer the calls.
It's like me, really. I mean, I never answer the phone when I'm eating, so... We follow brother number 2, hoping he's leading us to the potential kill site.
At this point, that kill, that blood, that adrenaline, is sending the signal all across the plains, telling animals like lions and leopards and vultures that there's some free food here. Oh, check it out, check it out.
If you look further down there, I saw the drag marks and that. And what actually happened was, I think this cheetah chased it, grabbed it, caught it in the open. And of course, it can't eat in the open because it'll attract other things like vultures and scavengers in.
Now, this other brother is playing lookout at the moment, is that right?
He's
and he
playing
will
lookout.
eat when the other brother gets
That's
out of
right.
the way. They'll suffocate the impala?
If you go and look closer on afterwards, you'll see where it actually grabbed it by the throat. And when they grab it by the throat, they strangle it, suffocate it. So the animal can't breathe, and it doesn't make a noise, and it's quite a quick death, yeah.
A couple of minutes and it's out?
Oh, not even minutes. I'd say within a minute it's normally expired, yeah.
Right, right. Obviously, these are wild cheetahs. They've got a little use to humans over the years. That's the only reason why I'm this close to these cheetahs. Any other cheetahs that you might see in the wild, you have to give them much more of a distance. Usually a very nervous cat. You can already see on these cheetahs, their bellies are getting full already, slightly distended and swollen, but they will eat the vast majority of this impala, bones and all. It's very, very important for cheetahs to eat bone. And with those very long, delicate legs that they've got, it's important for them to get as much calcium in them as possible. And a cheetah with a broken leg is usually a death sentence. But it's time for me to make a sharp exit before I'm on the menu. Amazing.
It's time to move on to my final destination, Timbavati, home to the 13 white lions left in the wild. I've come here to meet with a lady called Linda Tucker. Linda spent almost her entire adult life working and protecting the white lions. I'm hoping that she might be the person who will let me get an up-close encounter with these incredible creatures. She's meeting me at the Mafunyane village, home to the Molotole Nation. They've worshipped the white lions for generations. I'd like their blessing before I start my search, so I've arranged for some introductions. Linda gives me a warm welcome and takes me to meet the local elders. Princess Kabelo Chilawane of the Molotole Nation, Ivy Mashile, a local teacher, and Prince Juan Chilawane, also of the Molotole Nation. Thank you for letting me come and see the village.
The white lions, to us, they represent our ancestors. When you see the white lions, you should respect them. You don't have to look them into their eyes straight, like the way I'm looking at you. You have to look down and show respect.
Okay.
Because I think they resemble God and our ancestors, because they're coming from the stars.
And obviously an extremely rare lion at this point. There's only 13 of them wild.
Critically endangered, critically. And that is wild in this region, fighting for survival, and it's a trophy hunting region, which means they hunt lions here. And so our work together is to protect them.
I mean, it must be an incredibly sad and kind of profound experience to know that the animal that really defines the area is almost extinct.
Hence, it's our totem. We need to respect it. If it can be taken away, which means we'll be people without our own, what you call, religion or belief.
Already, the significance of these last remaining wild white lions goes beyond anything I imagined.
They are like our ancestors. We respect them, and we hope that when they roar, they are blessing us. They are also blessing the community.
The origins of the white lions have been passed on through stories and dance. Early tribes in Timbavati were so mystified by the sight of these unusual lions, they attributed their extraordinary appearance to stars that fell from the sky. In fact, Timbavati roughly translates to the place where star lions came from the heavens.
It is going to be really important that you get permission from the ancestors of this land before you going tracking the white lions. And the way that we would do that is to get a reading from the ancestors through a technique that is called the bones of divination.
Okay, sounds interesting. The ceremony is performed by a traditional medicine woman who prays to the ancestral spirits. Then the contents of this bag, including stones, bones, domino pieces, shells, and other meaningful objects, spell out the verdict.
That is the bone that represents you, and it's right next to a bone that is smiling in support of you. Do you see?
They are welcoming him when he enters the bush.
That all seems quite positive.
You're being mandated to go to meet the white lions.
Well, thank you.
And the secretary as well there.
With my blessing and invitation to meet the white lions in place, time to celebrate.
They want you to dance.
What?
The bones thing was really interesting. Ultimately, all of the messages that were being given off were kind of positive in terms of my trip. So you want to come into these communities with as much help and support as possible, and it seems to be that everyone's quite happy for me to go and meet these lions, so hopefully that's a good sign. Maybe I'll wake up in the morning and my wish will come true. Cool, I'll jump in the back. Linda's connecting me with the head of operations at the Global White Lion Protection Trust, Jason Turner. If anyone can find the elusive wild cats, it's him. While I've been granted permission to see the white lions, that doesn't mean I'll find them. This is really my last shot coming to the end of my trip. And there's, I don't know, maybe a 50-50 chance that we're going to get a chance to see these lions, so keep your fingers crossed and stay positive. Jason takes us deep into white lion country. And it doesn't take long before the lions tell us we're on their turf. That's a lion right there. That's a big male. Just behind us. That type of call, two lions calling at the same time in an exaggerated fashion like that, might mean that they're onto a kill, so we should get moving. A lion's roar carries 5 miles. Based on the volume and direction, Jason, who's listening on a long-range microphone, thinks he knows where they are. A watering hole about a mile away. The perfect spot for lions to grab a cool drink or scout potential prey. And it's clear right away we're close.
So these are the 2 males that we're tracking. See the size of those tracks? Much bigger than a lioness.
Hey, look at that here. These are the pads, obviously. Big lions.
And you can see from this mud, that's from this morning. Yeah, those are fresh from this morning.
It's interesting. It looks like a big house cat.
Yeah,
right?
Massive.
Yeah.
Gigantic, yeah.
All right, cool. One question remains. Are we chasing the white lions or regular tawny-coloured lions? Jason follows the paw prints along the road. My gut is telling me we're getting close.
Oh, look. Hey, stop for a second. See that, Frank? Amazing. These 2 males right here are brothers. I came to this part of the world to see if I could get close to a lion that had some very strong spiritual connections for the local communities here. When you get this close to these cats, you see that reverence, you see that majesty that they have.
But the light fur and blue eyes that elevate these lions to god-like status are the result of some equally impressive genetics.
So, Jason, they're called white lions. They're not necessarily completely white, right? They're not ice white, but they are a much lighter color.
White lions are due to a recessive gene, so it's a very rare genetic occurrence, which results in the change in hair color. And it's only ever occurred in this region right here, in the greater Kruger-Timbavati region.
And is it in any way to the detriment of the lion?
After 10 years of studying them, I found no indications of any defects. As you can see from these 2 males, they've hunted successfully. 2 nights ago, they took a zebra, so they're perfectly capable of hunting successfully.
Do we find that these lions are more valued by people like hunters and poachers due to their color?
Absolutely. It's one of the big challenges to their survival. In fact, a male lion was advertised for $165,000 to be hunted on the internet.
Jason has only just identified the genetic marker that makes these lions white. We do know that both white and tawny lions in Timbavati carry the genetic marker. 2 white lions will always make a white lion cub, but the probability of a white lion being born to tawny parents is 1 in 4 at best.
The gene is still within the greater population, and it's starting to slowly manifest or reappear.
Jason hopes further genetic research might prove the white lion is actually a subspecies of lion. If that's true, they could be declared an endangered species. That would make hunting them completely illegal.
You can see just how accustomed they are to humans being this close. That body language from the lion on the right, looking away from us, is a very specific, distinctive gesture, not fazed by us at all. And the lion on the left just looks like a huge, overgrown house cat. But he would teach you a lesson if you were to jump out of this car at this point. Because as you can see by the size of this guy's paws, an extremely strong animal indeed. These two brothers have just reached maturity and were ejected from their parents' pride to establish territories of their own. Jason tells me their parents' pride can't be too far away. Sure enough, about 5 miles up the road, there they are. See these two females here? And the male. Very, very distinctive, obviously, the male. With that mane. And the females are actually much paler, much whiter. You can see the whiteness of their coat and also the paleness in their eyes. For a long time, it was thought the females did all the hunting while the males enjoyed the ladies' hard work. That's not entirely true. The males do more hunting than previously thought. Still, this male gets most of his meals provided in exchange for mating with all the females. Not a bad job if you can get it. You can see these lions are wearing collars. The sad fact of the matter is, they have to be monitored for their own protection. The sun's coming down and the moon is now out. And the archetypal king of the jungle is just sat, relaxing in his territory and enjoying the spoils of being the boss. There's a spectacular African sunset behind me, and 3 of the rarest mammals on the African continent just relaxing right here, not going anywhere. The stunningly majestic white lion. So that was safari in South Africa. I risked death with the world's most dangerous snake, a truly wild black mamba. Got to go hunting with a pair of cheetah brothers and had a personal encounter with one of the rarest and most mysterious mammals on the planet, the spectacularly beautiful white lion of Timbavati, South Africa.